Hello and welcome back to Tailgaters with 23 Sports. My name is JJ Angelo. This is Shane Palma, and it is good to be back here in the studio. Last week we had a little bit of a weird situation, unfortunate circumstances, and couldn't record in the studio, but we are back. We are here and we're ready to talk sports. So why don't we hop into it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, basketball. It's a sport.
It is a sport.
And it's being
still
played.
going on right now when
Yeah.
it should be starting at this point in October.
Correct.
With October coming up. We'd be gearing up for basketball preseason at this point.
Correct.
And now we're heading to the finals.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense.
I know. It's kind of magical that we get the end of basketball at the same time we're getting the start up of the NFL. I love it so much. So, Western Conference Finals. We got Lakers, Nuggets. The Lakers are up 2-0 in this series, but both games were very different. The first one, the Lakers dominated all the way through. They took Jokic out of the rebound game, out of the assist game, and that's where he does his most damage. The second one, Jokic had a bigger game, but the Lakers just got the job done when it mattered. And, they forced other guys to make plays, and it didn't really work besides Jokic. But the ultimate difference maker in this game was Anthony Davis. What happened there?
100%. Anthony Davis is really the most valuable asset, even more than LeBron, that the Lakers have right now. Mm-hmm. They made a point to go out and get him during the offseason. They did. I personally think he's going to be there to stay. I think he's going to play out with LeBron as long as he's there. Anthony Davis, I think I saw the stat shooting 48% off of his jump shot. Phenomenal. He's a guy that usually goes in the paint, he gets the boards, he gets the blocks. And now you have him this lethal just from anywhere on the court. That's dangerous. And at this point in the series, being up 2-0, I don't know if they're going to lose another game. They might not even lose in the finals the way this team is gelling right now. I think they're playing great.
I agree. I think that having Anthony Davis there takes so much of a load off LeBron.
Absolutely.
We haven't even seen full playoff Bron unlocked yet, which is a scary thing because if he ever chooses to really unlock that full potential, playoff Bron can't be stopped.
I mean, you go back to 2017 when he had to lead the Cavs with J.R. Smith really being the second best player that they had. It was all just role players. This team has very quality assets, and just the Anthony Davis just being there is humongous for LeBron James.
Oh,
it's really huge.
Absolutely. I would argue Anthony Davis is the best teammate LeBron has ever had.
100%.
So I personally think this series is over. I think the sweep is inevitable because there is no more home court advantage in the bubble. I think if the Nuggets went back to Denver, if we were playing in a normal season, they'd be able to steal a game just because they were on their home court. But it's so hard to flip momentum in the bubble where it's just the same court day in and day out. I think the Lakers are going to win this one easily 4-0.
I have to 100% agree with that, JJ. The Nuggets have been on the ropes in almost every series they played. They've battled back. They've won Game 7s. They've been that resilient, tough team to go out there and get a win. I don't know 4-0. I said 100%, but now I'm thinking about it. They might squeak one out just because they got that grit. But a five-game set where the Lakers win 4 of those games, I think that's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, I know. The Nuggets, at this point, you can't count them out for anything. But the Lakers are just the best matchup they're going to see all year. The best matchup by far. Far better than the Clippers. So, yeah, Nuggets, love that team, but good luck beating the Lakers.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of things, probably a closer series. I've been saying I think this one is going to go 7, a full 7 games. The Heat versus the Celtics. Heat are currently up 2-1 in the series. The Celtics got the last one. They kind of did what they were normally doing in the first 2 games, leading it out early, having a nice third quarter lead. But then they extended this one a little bit further, but then all of a sudden it was a 5-point game with just a few minutes remaining, and I was like, oh no. Are the Celtics going to blow another one? They didn't, but it is a frightening thing to see that they just have this weakness that keeps popping up, and it's gonna catch up to them eventually with a team like the Miami Heat. So, Shane, thoughts on this series?
You know, it's funny because back in January, I wrote an article where I made some bold predictions for the year 2020, and I said the Toronto Raptors were going to repeat as champions. It honestly wasn't that hot of a take. The team was great. They had Fred VanVleet, who took over the role. Pascal Siakam looked fantastic. And then they lose a Game 7 to the Celtics. Personally, I still believe that the Raptors are the better team. I think the Celtics don't have the greatest chemistry together. I think we've seen that in their fights in the locker room. I know they battled back this last game, and they won it thanks to Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown kind of getting the team going, and obviously Jason Tatum being the star that they have. Gordon Hayward is back, but I really don't think that if the Celtics go down another game and it's 3-1 that they can come back from the Heat here. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, I think they're a fantastic duo. I think this Heat team is also very deep, just like the Lakers. You have a lot of different play styles that you can adhere to on the court. I really think the Heat are going to come out of this one on top.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Celtics, they can't slip up anymore. 3-1, the series is over. They got to tie it up 2-2 if they want to take this thing all the way. If they do that, I think it goes to a Game 7, and at that point, it's going to be a flip-up. It's going to be who wants it more, and the team that looks like they want it more all year long, this whole bubble, looks like the Heat. I think it might go to the Heat. However, the difference maker for the Celtics is a guy you did not mention, which just shows how talented this Celtics team is, and that's Kemba Walker, their star point guard. I think, honestly, he's kind of the difference maker in this one. He had a rough stretch of things. He was not producing offensively. He picked it up in Game 3, and it was kind of a difference maker. Yes, Tatum is the superstar. Marcus Smart is one of the best two guards in the league, a great role player. But Kemba, just that isolation ball that he likes to play, creating for himself, if he's able to knock down those isolation shots, then defenders have to come up on him a little bit further, and that just opens up the offense. If he wants to shoot, he can. If he wants to pass, the court is wide open. I think he's the difference maker if the Celtics want to make that full comeback and win this series. Now, that's a lot of basketball talk.
It is a lot of basketball.
Let's ease back to something a little bit more relaxing, I guess.
It's not going to be relaxing for me when I go on this tangent in a second.
Oh boy. Why don't you tell the folks at home what's happened to you in the NFL, specifically with fantasy football?
Listen, I love fantasy football. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I hate it. I hate it so much at the same exact time. Last night, watching the Saints play the Raiders. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm down by 8 points. I just need Jared Cook, one touchdown pass or catch. He catches a few other balls. He gets like maybe 30 yards in the clear. I got it. He doesn't have anyone else going. He catches a touchdown. I'm down 2 points. Fantastic. In a great spot. That was in the second quarter. Rest of the game does nothing. Coming down to the last minute, garbage time. The Saints are losing this one. They ended up losing the game. Drew Brees marching down the field. Now, personally, I don't think Drew Brees is that great of a quarterback anymore. He didn't attempt a single pass last night over 20 yards, and it's showing. His age is definitely showing. It's starting to show, and it's going to start to affect the Saints, especially since they don't have Michael Thomas. I don't think their defense is going to be reliant enough to win these games. We saw it last night. The Raiders took advantage of some of the slip-ups that they had, and they ended up winning. Now, for me, I did not end up winning. Jared Cook caught a pass. I think it was maybe 8 yards, one catch, PPR reception. I lost by 0.14 points. Oof. I don't think I've ever felt, I have back pain right now. There's nothing more painful than losing by that close in fantasy football.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm really sorry for your loss, Shane.
Thank you. Yeah, it's tough. 1-1 in most leagues, but you always want to be 2-0. I wanted to go undefeated in that one. Not going to happen this year.
That's all right. Well, plenty of other teams are experiencing actual loss. It was a crazy weekend in the NFL for injuries.
The most injuries I think I've ever seen on a Sunday with football. This was absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Several big names going down, some for short periods of time. Drew Lock, Devontae Adams, guys like that. But some of the biggest names in football are done for the year. All of a sudden, it's week 2, and Nick Bosa and Saquon are out. What are the implications for that?
I mean, for the Giants, I kind of thought as an offense they were going to take a step forward this year. They added Andrew Thomas to the offensive line during the draft. They took him with one of their earlier selections in the first round. And I really thought they were going to piece it together. Sterling Shepard stays healthy. They have Golden Tate. They have Evan Ingram. They had Saquon Barkley to rotate and make this offense functional. You lose Saquon. Sterling Shepard also went out in this game. Daniel Jones in his second season. I don't think he's going to take that step forward. I think this is a huge detriment to the Giants as a team. I think they're going to be exploited a lot because their defense isn't that great either. I was just hoping that their offense was maybe going in the right direction. But losing Saquon, I know they signed Devonta Freeman today, but it's still a step backwards from where they want it to be.
Yeah, I would agree. Do you think can Daniel Jones, an inevitable sophomore slump, can you blame it solely on Daniel Jones, or is it on the pieces around him here?
Well, they built a team for Daniel Jones here. They made sure they got the offensive line pieces to protect him. He honestly didn't have the greatest of rookie seasons. He had a lot of fumbling problems. I know he's a great runner. He ran the ball in for a few touchdowns, and he was a great semi-great passer in the pocket. But just overall, I don't know if we can fully blame this on Jones. I think when you look at the Jets and you talk about the offensive weapons that they've lost, that one maybe you could pin a little bit of the blame on Darnold for not picking up the slack. But Jones is still in his second year. Darnold, I know, is in his fourth year. I think you got to pump the brakes on the Jones hate. I think he just needs a little bit more time, but it's going to be tough this year without Saquon.
I would agree. I think Daniel still has a lot of upside, despite maybe some lacking weapons. I think ultimately he's got the pieces he needs to succeed. So on a little bit lighter of a note, I don't know, maybe not because of your jersey that you're wearing. I don't know how you felt about it, but you also were very high on the Cowboys before. Let's talk that Cowboys-Falcons game.
Oh,
holy cow.
Boy, that was one of the greatest games I think I've seen this season so far. Especially from my prediction standpoint of saying the Cowboys were going to go 14-2. You know what? It's hard to say I'm going to stick by that because they already have one loss, and I don't know if they're going to put together like a 13-game winning streak. But wow, they battled back. Dak Prescott proving why he could be in the MVP conversation this year. 3 rushing touchdowns. You kind of throw that away because he kind of did it from the inside the 2-yard line. Don't really want to count those, but 450 passing yards, and he made sure to put the Cowboys in a great spot.
Yeah, it was really a ridiculous performance by him that was almost overlooked by several turnovers and a 20-point deficit at one point, but the Cowboys somehow managed to come back. Usually they seem the team on the other end of the thing where they're the one blowing the lead. Maybe it's different because they are playing Atlanta, the king of blowing leads, but what happened here? How'd the Cowboys do it?
It all comes down to Greg Zuerlein. Honestly, you look at what Greg Zuerlein did, the onside kick that he had, it was phenomenal. The way that the Falcons were looking for the ball, the ball was right there. I don't know why you don't grab it. I think that's been a trending topic of today's discussion is why did the Falcons just stare at the ball while it was on the ground on an onside kick? I don't know if they were waiting for it to go out of bounds. I don't know if they thought it was going to be too short and they wanted to get the penalty call. I don't know. But Greg Zuerlein seals the deal with a nice field goal and the onside kick. Cowboys looked great. I think they're going to go on to win next week as well. Against the Seahawks, which is a tough task.
Against the Seahawks, that's a big task.
It's a tough task, especially with how great Russell Wilson is playing lately. But listen, I think Dak Prescott proved he moved the team in the right direction that they needed to go and proved, again, why he should be in the MVP race.
Okay, I like it. Speaking of proven, let's talk on the other end, couple guys that are still proving themselves right now. And first of all, first name that comes to mind, Justin Herbert. Wow. Can we talk about a great start?
That was fantastic. I think he put on one of the better rookie first game performances that we've seen in a very long time.
Oh, yeah, I would agree. Especially for not knowing he was going to start until seconds before kickoff.
5 to 10 seconds, they said, Anthony Lynn said, you're going in there. And he said, okay, I'm ready to go. And he's been training to be the starter anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think they're switching. They said they're switching back to Tyrod Taylor.
They are, and I want to ask you, we obviously saw a few years ago with the Cleveland Browns when they had Baker Mayfield, they drafted him to be their guy, yet they were still starting Tyrod Taylor in the game against the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. I remember this because I was watching it, thinking there's no way the Jets are going to give the Browns their first win, and I think it was like 19 or something games.
Yeah.
Little did I know, the Browns ended up replacing Tyrod after the first quarter with Baker Mayfield, and I think that started the Browns' little uptick and the Jets' continual downward spiral. Yeah. Tyrod Taylor is not a franchise quarterback.
He's not.
The Chargers have to realize that after the performance that Herbert just put on, he does have the confidence to go out there and give the team a better shot at winning than Tyrod does right now. Tyrod Taylor is not the person that should be leading this team next week.
No, definitely not. And I think we forgot one vital fact. They're playing against the defending Super Bowl champions.
And they almost won the game. They should have won the game,
They really should have. They had every opportunity to win that game. The Chiefs squeaked it out like the Chiefs do. I mean, I was expecting the Chiefs to win big, but Justin Herbert honestly was great. He made a couple rookie mistakes. One, he was rolling out left and made a terrible throw back across the field. But he made up for it. Honestly, they were overlooked by some phenomenal throws down the field to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Very impressive. Also impressive, another rookie, Jonathan Taylor. Shane, what are you telling me about him?
Jonathan Taylor looked like he was going to be the guy here for the Indianapolis Colts. I think on the first drive alone, he had 13 touches. He ran the ball 13 times on just the first drive. Yeah. The Colts have easily one of the better offensive lines in football. Funny enough now that we say that after Andrew Luck retired because they couldn't protect him.
That is
and now Phillip Rivers is leading this team with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the offensive pieces to put together a playoff caliber team at the second, But the duo of Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor, they didn't use Hines that much this past weekend. I think they need to integrate him more going forward. But that duo right there, especially Jonathan Taylor, I think he's going to be a phenomenal running back in the NFL.
Yeah. So with the current landscape of the NFL seems to be moving towards pass-catching running backs. Jonathan Taylor isn't so much that. Would the Colts see more success if they used Jonathan Taylor as their featured running back and Nyheim Hines more as a catching back?
You know, they could, and obviously Hines excels at catching the ball. But you look at what Taylor did at Wisconsin. He didn't catch the ball much. And then you look at what he's done in the NFL. The first week he had 6 catches. This week he had a few more. I don't think that they're going to shy away from giving Taylor the ball. I think they want to make Taylor an all-purpose back, kind of like a Christian McCaffrey, kind of like a Saquon Barkley. They want to be able to have him on the field as much as possible and give them the best chance of winning. And he does that for them.
I would say, yeah. And I am looking forward to what Jonathan Taylor continues to do this season. Barring any injury, I think he's in the conversation
don't even say
for
that.
Rookie of the Year. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Now, probably the game that most of us were looking for, waiting all day for Sunday night. We're talking Patriots, Seahawks, Russell versus Cam. This felt like a throwback to like 4 or 5 years ago with the way Cam and Russell were playing.
Fantastic. You know, I said that the Falcons-Cowboys game was great. This game was on that same level, maybe even a little bit better.
So it was a battle. It was a duel all the way. Let's just talk very last play of the game. We were already having a little debate before
over
this
text, yes.
play call. I think, I hate to say it, I'm definitely not smarter than Bill Belichick, but I think he made the wrong call here.
No.
Why not?
You run that play with Cam Newton 10 out of 10 times to end that game. He got into the end zone with ease all game, just on the straight run from the quarterback position into the end zone. Some say they could have faked it. He could have done an end around. Maybe you send a tight end out and do a play action. Give the ball to Cam Newton. The ball should stay in his hands. He's proven time and time again that he's a very efficient runner at the goal line, very hard to tackle. Okay, so he didn't get in there. Obviously, it looks like a bad play call now that we look at it because it cost him the game.
Yeah.
But I would run that play over every single time. I wouldn't change a thing.
So I would be the one who would say run a play action. I get where you're coming from, especially for the fact that they did earlier run a play action play very similarly on the goal line. But I still think you fake right, you send a tight end out left, and you probably no one's covering them. If you have a goal line stand on the defense, it's tough. I get the run. I definitely get the play call. I think they could have done something a little less straightforward to maybe try and win that game. But nonetheless, very impressive performance from Cam. He was running the ball all last week. We were curious if he could really throw it like he used to be able to. I don't think he put any doubt in anyone's mind from this game.
360-plus passing yards. Like, that's amazing from Cam Newton.
From a guy who we might have thought was washed after this year. Might have thought we were done.
And I think most NFL teams did too, except the New England Patriots. Of course, they end up with a MVP caliber quarterback like Cam Newton.
Of course they do. Yeah. So that concludes our show today. We thank you so much for joining us. For Shane Palma, I'm JJ Angelo. Take it easy. Take it so easy. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Ciao.